Hi, I'm Liz Chavez, and I am an ESL teacher. I teach ESL, English as a Second Language, to kindergarten through fifth grade students. And this is a presentation about the importance of using multicultural children's literature in your classroom as well as in your instruction. The intermediate picture books are still great, high quality, very engaging. They're a bit longer and they're a bit more complex. So I would use these like second, third, fourth grade even for some of them to teach a multitude of lessons. Quickly going through Mommy Sighing is a book that features a Muslim family. In this book, another type of diversity that you don't typically see. In this book, the mom gets sick. And so this little girl kind of suffers through her mother's sickness. She does get better, so that's good. But some other women in the community kind of step in to help, and she's not really interested in any of their help. But it's a good book to show, kids have family members who get sick, and, that's not often seen. It's always like the mom's here to do everything for you, but this is a different type of diversity to see in literature. A New Kind of Wild is a brand new book out this year, which I love. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure the boy is from Puerto Rico, and he moves to a city. And so he's from a very rural nature place, like full of nature where he is, and he spends his time like playing with animals and his imagination and all of the trees and flowers and all that stuff. And then he moves to a city that's filled with concrete, and he is not a fan. And so anyway, this is the little girl Ava who teaches him how to use his imagination to play in the city, which is very new for him. My Puppy Has a Motorcycle is like my favorite book ever. It's about a little girl who rides on the back of her motorcycle with her father. Her father is a construction worker. It's based out of California. They're Latino family. He rides her by his construction sites. You see all of his buddies. They know her. And there's lots of really good integrated Spanish language in this book, and the illustrations are super captivating. So it's a great story. I used this book for a multitude of things with many groups this year. It was new in 2019. Red, A Crayon Story. This is a book that many of you may know, but it's just about a crayon that, the color, its outside wrapper doesn't match its inside color, and kind of that experience of being frustrated that I'm not able to do what everyone's expecting me to draw red, but I really draw blue. And it's kind of getting kids to sort of think about their outer expression versus their inner expression, how those may match, how those may not match, and beginning to think about that, hey, there might be people who feel this way about their own selves. Maybe there's something about their outer identity that doesn't really match how they feel, or they feel a certain way, and that's, it matches in ways, and sometimes we don't match in ways, and how it's just a good experience to introduce that concept to children. This book I was referring to is Suki's Kimono. We talked about how I put the sticky notes embedded them inside the text, so when I came across a word I didn't know, I would have that little cheat sheet with me. It's a Japanese family. It's three sisters. It's just about being who you are, expressing yourself. The smallest girl of the three sisters is Suki, and she actually wears her kimono to school, and her older sisters are mortified. And they get home from the first day of school, and her older sisters are horribly disappointed that no one noticed their new outfit or new shoes or whatever. And everyone noticed Suki's kimono, of course. And it was a really good experience for her. I've actually had a good experience with this book with an Indian student years ago. She really identified with this book. And she did some Indian dances for us, even though she was not Japanese, but she was Indian. And so it spoke to her, and she loved this book. And then over the virtual learning, I've had a Japanese student. I read this book to her, our first virtual session. And every session after that, she wore a different kimono. So we would meet every Wednesday, and she would always show up in her kimono. So it's it's really powerful when you use books that kids can identify with. You hold me up again. To be honest, I don't have tons of First Nations books, so I included that one again here, but it's really a great book. That's something I'm personally working on, is getting books that represent our Indigenous people that I can do better. Balloon Farm has been read a million times, and it's a great example of having a hero in a book that is a non-white hero. So in this book, the girl is Black, and it's not about civil rights. It's not about people who are enslaved. It's just about life on a farm, and she actually makes this book is full of mystery and magic, and there's so much inferring you can do with this book. Kids love this book, and fantastic. Jardine Nolan is an author who's written a lot of books, and all of her books have an element of magic in them, and they're often in rural settings, and they feature Black girls as characters, which is not something you find often. Quickly, I'll finish up my last few. Thank You, Amu is by Oge Mora, and it's she's the same author who wrote Saturday from the last slide. And this book just talks about Amu is the word queen in a Nigerian language, I believe. And so she makes this big pot of red stew, and everyone keeps smelling it, and they keep coming in and asking for her red stew. And at the end of the night, she's given it all away. And so everyone shows up, and they bring her food. And so it's just a great idea of sharing. There's really a lot of details in here that are interesting for kids to pick up on. I've read it a million times, and I just realized this the other day, like for each person that knocks, like the first person is 1 knock. The second person is 2 knocks. The third visitor is 3. So there's just lots of different things that people can kind of pick up on and predict and make patterns. And so lots of entry points. If you're reading this with a 3rd grade group and you have a lower language student or someone who's not able to access some of the other parts, they can pick up on, oh, it's the 3rd person. They're going to knock 3 times. It's the 4th person. They're going to knock 4 times. Things like that are just great. Make Something Beautiful is about a community that does murals to beautify their community, and it's just a gorgeously illustrated book. It's another great book for talking about collaboration. Jabari Jumps is a newer book, and it has, it's just the story of a little boy finally jumping off the diving board, and all of this practicing and strength and courage and it took, and it features his father is the one who's doing all the encouraging and the supporting, and so it's nice to see a father-son grouping in a text, particularly an African-American text, and kids love this book, and it's something that kids really relate to. Like, I think a lot of us remember the first time we jumped off the diving board without floaties. It's a big deal, so kids really relate to it. That's really all I have for today.